I talk too much this. And my husband was like, well, you shut up about this, back on my feet, just go for a run already. So I was like, oh, okay then. So much to his surprise, because I'm not a morning person, as you can probably tell, I got up and I went. And it's there that I met a lady called Sandra. She was on the newly formed women's team, and she'd been struggling a little bit in the program, not really being able to get involved, not running as much. And I wasn't feeling as sprightly at all. I had no caffeine, and I was like, I am totally okay with walking this morning. So we started walking, and I asked if I could walk with her, and she said yes. And so we started walking, we started talking, and she was really quiet at first. Didn't have a lot to say. So we just walked silently together, and then slowly but surely, she started to open up, and she started to talk about her life, some of the challenges that she'd been through, some of the trauma that she'd been through. And it's not my job to tell her story, but needless to say, some of the things Sandra had been through, no one should have to go through, and no one should have to go through alone. And I realised there was most definitely a survivor in there, and quite possibly a runner. So I said, why don't we run the last block? Everyone had finished probably hours ago at this point, and I was like, oh, we need to make sure they're still there. And so she agreed, begrudgingly, but she agreed, and we started to run the last block. And as we were running, immediately the first thing she did was she said, I feel stupid, I'm not a runner, this isn't for me. And then she heard them. She heard the volunteers at the finish line cheering her name. Go Sandra, you got this. And something just changed on her face. She just broke out with this huge smile. It was so heartwarming to see, and I'll never forget that smile. And we finished, we got to the end, she turned to me, she hugged me, and she said, thank you. No one has ever believed in me the way you all just believed in me. And I was floored. I was like, we just trying to block with her. So think about that sentence. No one has ever believed in me the way you all just did. And it was that moment that I realized the immense power of our program. So whilst we may be metrics driven and we may track every single impact and make sure every dollar is maximized, the magic of what we do is what happens on those morning runs. And it's what happens when someone gives someone else a chance and supports them along the way. And I'm pleased to announce that Sandra did find a job, she did find a home with our support, and she's just one of thousands of success stories, and hopefully many, many more that we can have in the Indianapolis chapter with all of your support. So that's me done. Thank you again. Have a wonderful day and enjoy the rest of the program.